Hello all. This is the textbook of that we are using this semester. The way I came to found this textbook is that if you go to this week's section, which is here, I have put the link here, and these are two very good discussion topics. We want you to be active. Those of you who have not responded, go ahead and try to find different questions. That way we cover a good number of questions, and you will see students have posted significant number of good answers. And also I have been emailing my lectures and my notes to you all to your college email. And I am sure those of you who check your college emails are getting those regularly. If you are not, please make sure to check your college emails to get these, lecture notes. Now I go to the book. And if you clicked on that link, you will see today we were discussing about the checking account and saving accounts and, different ways of money management and different issues. And here is monetary management and who pays for monetary asset checking and money market accounts. We already talked about this, in significant details, and students have already posted good discussions. We already talked about money market accounts, and you understood that we have two different money market accounts, one by the banks and one by the brokerage firms. Brokerage firms pay more, in terms of interest rates compared to the regular banks. And that is because brokerage firms are not insured. When they say they are not insured, I don't want you to be concerned as much, because when we think, it is not insured, we are going to lose our money. But it is not like that. You have to go with, solid brokerage firms, and they are not putting your money in a risky, as I said, assets. What they do, they get your money and they put them, they give them some part of it to federal governments and other, major companies. Then we see here, you already know about saving accounts. You learned that they are not paying as much. You learned about CDs, certificate of deposits, and currently certificates of deposits give good interest. The reason is interest rates are high. As you all know, some CDs might give you 5%, 4.5%, but they want you to leave your money for 6 months. You won't be able to touch it. Therefore, those are some, but these rates are going to drop down, and then in the future, they are going to, lower down the interest rates and bring the interest rates down. The Federal Reserve is going to do that in next month, and also in the near future. Therefore, these CDs are going to give less and less interest as time goes by. And ownerships of assets, payable on debt. We know that if someone dies, then, they pay. And then these are different tenancy, means that shared ownership of a property. Therefore, sometimes the property is owned by two parties. And sometimes, the person lives in a property as long as, the other person is, the person is alive. And then if the person passes away, the property goes to, the estate. And electric money management, we already talked about these issues, and you already know about electric funds transfer. These are online transfers, and you already know about, we already talked about, ATM and, billing and renewal. You all know about these issues. Therefore, I am digital currency. And we have, I don't know how much we have talked, but I am familiar with this subject, Bitcoin and Ethereum. These are two popular, digital assets. Hopefully we have time. If we have time, I can, lecture about them. But for now, we want you to know that these Bitcoins are somewhat similar to credit cards. Think about them as credit cards, but there is not any plastic card for them. Or think about them as debit cards. Debit cards are cards, but these are not cards. Therefore, you buy them. One Bitcoin is 50,000, but if you don't have a 50,000, you don't need. You can buy $10 of Bitcoin. That means you are buying a portion of this Bitcoin. And what can you do with that? Let's say you pay $30 and you buy. How do you buy them? You can go to the account brokerage accounts like Coinbase. There is a website called Coinbase. Let me go. I don't recommend you all get involved in the digital currency. Here it is, Coinbase. If the Coinbase.com. And then if you go there and create an account, here it is. Ethereum is 3,500, and maybe this is Bitcoin. Maybe that is 30,000 because Bitcoin was almost maybe it was at 50,000. I don't know what this $30,000 is, but I can tell you Ethereum is. Therefore, my recommendation is here it says get up to $200 to get started. They sign in, but I strongly recommend stay away from these cryptocurrencies. Because let's say you open an account, you put $100 in it, and you are the owner of very small portion of, let's say Bitcoin. And then what can you do with that small portion? You can, let's say, go to some organizations, companies that accept Bitcoin. Therefore, they sell books. The book is $20. When you sign in, suppose that company gives you an account number. Then you use your Bitcoin, you have $50, the book is $20, you buy the book and you put your code or whatever they give you, then you click submit, the person gets $20 of your $50 of Bitcoin, and then it ships the book to you. That portion of Bitcoin goes to the account of that broker or a bookseller. Therefore, that's the way it works. Then when you are on this side, you can buy other, there are as many as hundreds of currencies here. And as we said, two most famous ones are Bitcoin, as you all know. There are other things you have heard, Elon Musk talking about Dogecoins, and therefore we want you to stay away. Earn 5.6% API USD. Join Coinbase. Therefore, we don't recommend you to get involved in this. Here it is. Bitcoin is $58,000. Ethereum is 2,300. I don't know why it was showing 3,000. This is another, this is, I think this stays at the dollar at all time. And these are some other ones. Solana, there are as many as significant numbers of these cryptocurrencies, which we strongly recommend you stay away from them unless you understand them, everything. Still, they are risky because your $50 fluctuates. If you have $50 in your bank account or credit card, they are always going to stay at $50. But the $50 of Bitcoin that you have fluctuates. Tomorrow it might become $45, or it might become $60, or it might become $20. Therefore, you don't want to go through those fluctuations. And these are called cryptocurrencies. The federal government, the governments usually don't like these cryptocurrencies because they can't have their hands on it. Because when you have money in the bank, the government knows about it. When you do transactions, if you do crazy transactions, they can come and, after you if it is illegal transactions. But in Bitcoins, it's hard to find because the money is not sitting in a bank. The information is sitting on some computers. And, therefore, because they are on some computers, therefore, the federal government, the state governments have no information. That's why many underground economies and crazy transactions are taking place in the dark web and using Bitcoins. Using Bitcoins is not illegal, but it's a good tool for the people who want to make sure the government doesn't find trace of them. And therefore, we go and talk about psychology of money management. This psychology is very important. that you have to be trained in being a good financial management in terms of personal finance. You have seen a lot of people who have the habit of spending money, putting money on credit cards, and doing crazy things. Therefore, the smart people are very conservative. They, as I said, you have to pay your credit cards. Try to do it, to pay it off at the end of the month. And I heard a very good advice. Someone said, that if you cannot do that, all you have to do is give up your credit cards. Only use debit card. If that is something to get you in trouble, my recommendation is that try to get your credit cards and use just the debit cards. And that's a good strategies for those who have habit of spending money, managing money, and making financial decisions. We are going to talk more about it. You will know. And people connect to emotion. What is my biggest money worry today? And many of the students, as you know, we are living in rural. Our income is not big. We don't have huge income. We always have to be worried about the money. But the people who are good at money management, they are going to resolve these issues regardless of how much of a challenge they have. And what are we doing well financially? I am sure many of you do well in certain areas, know what you are doing. Suppose in my case, I don't buy expensive cars. I don't buy cars that use a lot of gas. I don't buy cars in such a way that I pay high interest rates. You are good in many ways, and you might not be good in terms of finances in many ways. And if there are any issues with the finances, do I understand? Can I analyze it? The more you learn, the better it is. I am using a lot of ChatGPT. I want you to learn about it. It's because sometimes you might have questions and then there is nobody around to answer your questions. You may go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I have a bad habit of putting things on my credit card. Could you advise me to do what I can do? Or say, I am paying a lot of interest on my credit card, 24%, 25%, and I have an account with, for example, Bank of America. Do you have any solution for me that I can pay less interest or, whatever, Therefore, one reason we are using ChatGPT is to make sure you are using it effectively and like a good money manager. And financial health is, here it is, financial health is just like the health of the people. We go and exercise. We all want to have good health. In finances, it is financial health as well, which means that, I read somewhere, very, very interesting point. The person was saying that, at what age you have to start learning financial, finances, personal finance. You know what the person said? He said that the question is like asking someone at what age you have to brush your teeth. That is a good way of saying it. Therefore, you can always learn, get started as soon as possible. The more you know, the better you can manage your finances. You can be a wealthy person. You can, retire at early age, but you have to know about and you have to train yourself and you have to have a psychology. Having necessarily huge paychecks doesn't mean necessarily you will be successful financially. I have seen people that amazingly, I had a friend who was making $150,000 a year, 120, 130. And then we had a mutual friend, and this mutual friend was making $25,000 a year. And this mutual friend had 7 children, and children around 3 years old, 5 years old, 8 years old. And guess what? The person who had $150,000 sometimes was going to this person and borrow money from him, which means one person who is not married making $150,000 going to the person who makes $25,000 with 7 children, and then that guy with 7 children is in a better financially better. At the end of the month, that guy with 7 children had some extra money to put aside for something, and that person with $150,000 was always short at the end of the month. It is called financial health. Are you healthy? Are you financially healthy? Being financially healthy doesn't mean necessarily making a lot of money. Summary of learning and objectives, and then we are going to get into very good stuff.